All right, man. We're just gonna get straight into it today. We're gonna get straight into it. I got some great information to give y'all, man. Great information. You see what I'm saying? Like, share, and subscribe for your boy. I'm consistent, bringing y'all this content every single day. We're gonna make money in 2025. All right. So, what are we talking about today? What are we talking about today? We're talking about how you can benefit, how you can make money in a Trump presidency in 2025 and going into his 4-year term. So, before we even get started, man, I need y'all to have one of these. I need y'all to have one of these. This is a journal. This is where I take all of my notes. This is where I jot down any companies I come across, etc. You need to be journaling. You need to be having notes. All right, so let's get straight into it. All right, so when you're thinking about how to profit from a Trump presidency in 2025, whether you voted for him, whether you didn't, it's not the video for this. We're coming at this from a perspective of being an investor. You know, no matter who's the president is, doesn't matter what's going on with economics, the country, geopolitics. It doesn't matter what's going on with inflation, whether it's something like COVID going on. There's always a sector in the stock market that's being rewarded by certain economic, political, geopolitical conditions. You just got to know where to look. Got to switch that mindset up, start thinking outside of the box. So, with Trump coming into office, there are some sectors that policy that he is wanting to enact will be directly affected. So let's get into it. This is not financial advice. This is not financial advice. I'm just some guy on YouTube. You dig? I'm just some guy on YouTube. But this is to provoke thought, and kind of tell you where my mind frame is going into Trump's presidency and being able to pivot and maneuver around all of the plans that he has. So let's get into it. So number one, as we know, day one in Trump's presidency, he's talking about enacting mass deportations. Who benefits from mass deportations? Who benefits? That's what I want you to be thinking about when we're talking about policy. Anything that's going on, who's benefiting? We're gonna follow the money, you know. So let's get into it. All right, who's benefiting from mass deportations? You have contractors like GEO Group and Core Civic. These are immigration and customs enforcement contractors. you know so when you're talking about mass deportations, there has to be someone to help the government in facilitating housing, transporting, you know these migrants, these illegal migrants, whatever it is. There's going to be contractors, there's going to be businesses that benefit. We got Geo and Core Civic, um that have seen their stock increase as a result of President Trump, Tom Homan, their initiatives and what they're trying to push with these mass deportations. So, as you can see, post election, Trump wins. What happens? Core Civic stocks. Core Civic stock has seen a 29% um, increase shortly after. You see what I'm saying? It jumped up $16.54. The prison stocks, the prison stock soared nearly 88% last week before pairing the weekly gain of 69%. What did Geo Group do? Geo stock extended gains from 16.47. They seen a 76% increase in the stock price. Look at that. Look at that chart. Look at that chart. Look at that jump up. It's trading here. Trump wins. They're talking about mass deportations. Boom, jumps up. See that? You see that? So that's what I want you to be thinking about. So Trump's talking about mass deportations. You could see prison stocks. You see some prison stocks. We've already seen their performance start to increase as a result of the news. Be watching, be looking out. Because when these things go into effect, mass deportations go into effect, we can be kind of, looking to trade in and out of some of these stocks to be able to profit off of it. So, what's another thing that Trump's talking about day one? Tariffs. What is a tariff? Tax on imports. So, whether that is goods coming from Canada, goods coming from China, goods coming from Mexico, those goods are going to be taxed at a premium. We have a lot of our domestic companies that get a lot of their goods from across the waters, from other countries. So what usually happens when we have tariffs, the prices of goods and services go up, which means those companies will probably pass the buck to us. They're probably going to charge more. You see what I'm saying? But Okay, when you're thinking about that, who benefits from it? Who benefits from tariffs? And what are some of the results of tariffs? Well, companies can either choose to pay that tax, you know, or or they can bring their manufacturing back to the United States. And if they were to bring their manufacturing back to the United States, what could we see benefit? Well, there would have to be manufacturing plants being built. So we could see real estate benefit. What's another thing we could see benefit? Railroad. The railroad. There has to be something in place to help transport all of these goods all across the country, you know? And when you look at companies like CEO, he's talking about these tariffs and manufacturing. What does he say about that? You know, he said that, um, okay. He said, from our standpoint, actually, as long as it's coming to the US, we're going to move it somewhere. Henrik said, if tariffs change the trade portfolio, as long as the economy is growing, we'll be a part of it. What is that telling me? That's telling me that railroad companies like this that are in the business of transporting goods throughout the country, they could benefit. They could benefit. We don't know what's going to happen with these tariffs or if they will even be implemented. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. But I want you guys to be thinking outside of the box in ways that you can benefit inside of the stock market. What's next? Trump has said that he wants to put significant investment into the military. Into the military. So who's going to benefit from that? Who's going to benefit? I'll tell you who's going to benefit. Companies like Lockheed Martin. Companies like Lockheed Martin, military defense contractors. Companies like Lockheed Martin are going to benefit from that. Who else could benefit? You know, who else could benefit? Military Metals Corp. You got companies like Palantir, who just had a $400 million deal signed with the Army. When you have significant investment being put in the military, you can expect a lot of those military defense companies, the whole military defense sector, and anyone involved to reap some reward and benefit from that money. So be looking in that direction when we're talking about military investment from President Trump. All right, what's next? Financial deregulation. Financial deregulation. This is going to allow for a more lenient and relaxed landscape. For businesses to be able to operate, um, to be able to merge, acquire other businesses. It's going to see their revenues grow, profits grow. See what I'm saying? So who's going to benefit from this? Well, let's look and see. Bank stocks. Look at the bank stocks. You know, Trump won presidency. Bank stocks seen a 12% increase right off the bat with talks of deregulation. With talks of deregulation, that's a big thing. In Trump's plans, tax cuts, deregulations, tax cuts, deregulations. Whether you like it or not, you might as well benefit. As a smart investor, hey man, we got to adjust with the landscape. So, you got some bank stocks, you know, let's look and see what else. You got, um, look, what's that? SPDR, that's an ETF. Could be looking that way. Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Bank of America. So you could potentially be looking at your bank stocks, and there may be a lot of other companies that may benefit from less regulation. So these are things that you need to look out for. It's things you need to look out for. What's another thing that Trump has talked about going into his term? He's talked about space. As we know, in his last term, he started something called the Space Force. You know, as we know, he partnered up with Elon Musk. Elon Musk has SpaceX. I don't. SpaceX isn't public yet. I don't believe. I don't think they're public, but there are a lot of other stocks, companies that are public that will see benefit. So when you're talking about investment in space exploration, look at this. Look at these stocks. Just this just this week, when this article came out, Rocket Lab up 41%, Intuitive Machines up 28%, Spire Global up 26%, Planet Labs up 16%, Redwire up 15%, AST Spokes Mabel up 10%. With Trump talking about putting a significant investment into space. You got to think outside the box. When he's talking about policy, be thinking who's going to benefit. We're going to follow the money, you know? All right, what's another thing he's talking about? Oil deregulation. Drill, baby, drill. You've heard that before. Drill, baby, drill. You've heard that before. And you can be looking to potential oil companies to see some benefit. Shell, Exxon, Chevron, there's ETFs. You have to think outside the box. Be looking at these oil companies to potentially see some benefit from deregulation. Once again, until we see a lot of this policy being implemented, this is all speculation. But I want you to get your mind going, your wheels turning, and be ready to take action and pivot and be ready to look into this policy and be able to navigate through the sectors that could potentially be affected. Last thing I want to talk about, tax cuts. Tax cuts, as I said before, big thing for Trump, deregulation, tax cuts. When he was president, he implemented Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, TCJA. What did it lead to? What did it lead to? We're investors. You should know. What did it lead to? When we get a lot of tax cuts, businesses have a lot more excess money in the bank. And what do they do with that? Stock buybacks. What does that do? That could benefit us in the short term by having an inflated stock price. The stock price could go up. When businesses have excess money due to tax cuts, we've seen in the past they have taken that capital and bought their stock buybacks. We even seen Trump um find some issue with that in the past. He called out some of these companies for using the tax cuts for stock buybacks. But that's something that happens. I believe it's going to happen again, if we get these tax cuts. And that's something that you need to be aware of because who does that benefit? That could benefit us as investors. You know, that's taking away less shares outstanding, which makes the shares that we own more valuable. So those are just some things I want to put on your mind. How you can benefit and navigate the markets during the Trump presidency going into 2025. If y'all got any value out of this video, man, please like, share, and subscribe, man. Please like, share, and subscribe. I got a lot more content on the way. Thank y'all. See you on the next one.